Judaism is one of the oldest monotheistic religions in human history. With a history spanning approximately 4,000 years, it is considered the first of the Abrahamic religions. Today, around 15.8 million people worldwide identify as Jewish. Although this represents only about 0.2% of the world population, Judaism has had an influence on history, culture, economics, and politics far greater than its numbers might suggest. In this video, we will examine Judaism in broad strokes, from its origins to its core beliefs, religious practices, and modern interpretations. If you're ready, let's take a brief journey into the depths of human history. According to Jewish tradition, the roots of Judaism extend back to the time of Abraham. Although Abraham was born into a polytheistic society, he embraced belief in one God and entered into a special covenant with him. According to this covenant, God blessed Abraham's descendants and declared them the chosen people. Abraham's grandson Jacob, also known as Israel, was the father of 12 sons. These sons are regarded as the ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel. From this point on, Jewish identity began to take shape not only as a faith, but also as a shared lineage and a sense of collective destiny. Approximately 1,000 years later, the Israelites appear in history as slaves in Egypt. This situation, however, does not last forever. Moses, a descendant of the tribe of Levi, challenges Pharaoh and calls his people to freedom. This story of liberation, symbolized by the parting of the Red Sea, is known in Jewish history as the Exodus, and it stands at the very heart of the Torah. After leaving Egypt, Moses receives the 10 Commandments from God on Mount Sinai. These commandments form the foundation of Jewish morality and religious law. Thus, the Israelites emerge not merely as a people freed from slavery, but as a nation shaped by divine law. Following the time of Moses, the Israelites settle in the land of Canaan, which they believe was promised to them by God. Over time, a kingdom is established. The reigns of King David and King Solomon are considered the golden age of a powerful Jewish state centered in Jerusalem. The first temple, built by Solomon, turns Jerusalem into a sacred city for the Jewish people. This unity, however, does not endure. The kingdom eventually weakens and splits into two: the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. From the first millennium BCE onward, the Jews come under the rule of major empires such as the Assyrians, Babylonians, and Persians. Among these periods, the Babylonian exile occupies a particularly significant place in Jewish collective memory. The years of exile represent not only destruction, but also transformation. Much of the Torah is compiled during this time, and belief in a Messiah, a future Redeemer, gains strength. This idea would later play a crucial role in the emergence of Christianity. Approximately 50 years later, Cyrus the Great of Persia allows the Jews to return to Jerusalem, and the temple is rebuilt. However, in 70 CE, the Romans destroy the Second Temple and exile the Jews once again. This event marks the beginning of the Jewish dispersion across much of the world. The destruction of the temple also leads to a fundamental shift in Jewish religious life. With the central sanctuary gone, worship becomes centered around synagogues, and religious authority increasingly rests with rabbis and their interpretations. Judaism thus evolves into a faith capable of surviving without dependence on a single sacred location. Throughout the Middle Ages, Jews live largely as minorities in Europe and the Middle East, frequently facing discrimination and persecution. In many European cities, Jews are confined to neighborhoods known as ghettos, whose gates were locked at night. Despite these hardships, Jewish communities managed to preserve their religious and cultural traditions. In the 19th century, especially in Eastern Europe, waves of violent attacks, known as pogroms, force hundreds of thousands of Jews to flee their homes. Many migrate to the Americas, laying the foundations of today's large Jewish diaspora there. Having briefly outlined the historical background, we can now turn to the core elements of Jewish belief. At the center of Judaism lies faith in one indivisible and absolute God. God is the creator of the universe, and, through the covenant with the Israelites, expects them to live according to his commandments. The primary sacred text of Judaism is the Torah, which comprises the first 5 books of the Tanakh. In addition, the sections known as Nevi'im and Ketuvim contain prophetic writings, poetry, and historical narratives. Alongside the written texts, Judaism also maintains a tradition of an oral Torah, which was eventually recorded in the Mishnah and later expanded into the Talmud. In daily life, Jews practice their faith through prayer, observance of Shabbat, dietary laws, and religious festivals. Shabbat, the holiest day of the week, lasts from Friday evening to Saturday evening and represent a time to step away from worldly concerns. Today, Judaism is expressed through various movements, most notably Orthodox, Conservative, and Reform Judaism. Despite these differences, many Jews choose to define themselves not by strict denominational lines, but as part of a broader cultural and historical identity. At present, roughly half of the world's Jewish population lives in Israel, with a large proportion residing in the United States. Jewish communities spread across the rest of the world continue to carry forward this ancient tradition in diverse cultural settings. With this overview of Judaism's history and beliefs, we have come to the end of our presentation. See you in the next video.